This is a new moon eclipse. New moon. It's when the sun and the moon are together. So this represents a new beginning. It's a very powerful point of creation whenever there is a new moon. The moon is considered the mother. The sun is considered the father. Together they make a new moon. Anytime a node, whether it's a north node or a south node, are near the point of the new moon, that makes it an eclipse. Okay? So it's in the sign of Libra. So if you know your astrology, if you've been following along with the moon's nodes in the sky, you know that they spend 18 months in the sign of Aries and Libra. You know that the north node is in Aries, therefore the south node is in Libra. Oh, it's just Venus and the date. All right? For those of you who might not have seen part 1, I'll attach it below. You always want to watch both because there's likely information in there that won't be in this video and vice versa. That's the point of doing another video. So October 14th, we're having a new moon, but it's a new moon solar eclipse. Yes, in the sign of Libra. Venus rules this new moon. Why? Why does Venus rule the new moon? Because it's in the sign of Libra, and Venus rules the sign of Libra. Okay, that is just the way it is. Once you know what Libra is about, you have an understanding about what the new moon, the new beginning, what it will pertain to. You see? So Libra energy, what's the first thing everybody knows? Partnerships, right? Some say marriage. The teaching is private and business. Libran energy, some say it's about being indecisive. I can't make up my mind. That's what some people say. And so I think what happens in Libra energy, we are so concerned about the we factor. Remember Libra partnerships? So it's at the opposite of the me energy. And the me energy is Aries. All about me, baby. All about me. It's all about me. That's Aries. Whereas Libra says, but wait a minute. Will we both enjoy this? Is this good for both of us? Is this fair? Is this equal? Yeah, equality is a big deal in Libra, right? So partnerships, personal and private, so this can include your marriage, but it's not just partnerships as far as like I'm in a business partnership with somebody or a marriage, right? But it can simply be, do you need a lawyer? Have you had to sign a contract? And relationships can be people that are very important to you. So it's not limited to marriage partners. It's not limited to, someone that you're in business with, although it can represent as people that you work for, because some people are partners, but you can still be partners with people and it not be a law firm. There's different ways that you can have like professional partnerships, right? So professional partnerships, but what about the relationships of people that we're just close to? Like we compromise for those people in some way. They're that important in our lives where we will bend what we want and we'll try to meet them somewhere in the middle. We try to be fair. We try to compromise and say, you know what? This is what I really want. But if I know you really want this, how about we meet here? So you get a little bit of what you want. I get a little bit of what I want. And then that way both parties can move forward and nobody feels like they were cheated, even though not everybody got everything they wanted, because that's just not reality. We never always get everything that we want. And that's where Libran energy becomes the diplomat. It feels as though it understands the needs and the desires and the values. Remember, Venus rules this sign. That's why Venus is such a big deal. She's the ruler of this new moon solar eclipse. Does create an auspicious moment in time where it really is a creative, potent power for collaborations, for partnerships, for fairness, for compatibility, and possibly absolutely compromise and seeing somebody else's perspective, walking in another person's shoes and willing to stretch out my hand and say, I get it now. I get it. This eclipse is at 2107, and there is the south node. And so that's an important piece to know, very important piece to know about this eclipse. It is a south node solar eclipse. So it is a mixed bag because the south node represents an ending and a closure and a release. It's like this is the way it used to be. This was business as usual. This was how partnerships worked. This was the scales of justice. But it's a south node. And the south node says, this is the way it used to be. This was the past. And we are moving away. We are releasing the past. We're not completely throwing it out of the, like the baby in the bathwater out of the window, but we are saying, this isn't going to be our thing anymore. This is not going to be our main thing. We are easing away from this. We may refer back to this from time to time, but we are moving forward with something new. And because it's focused on we energy, remember, Libra, we, and fairness in the scales of justice, and lawyers, something there is changing. Some partnerships that possibly end, whether it has to do with the law and lawyers and clients, or whether it just has to do with literally the scales of justice and possibly justices. Justices, we think of people who are justices. Those would be judges, my Jupiter, justices. And so that takes us to, Jupiter in the chart. And so we look at Jupiter in the chart, and Jupiter is over here in Taurus at 13 degrees. And it kind of sits here for a nice amount of time, actually, because Jupiter doesn't move real fast. So there's Jupiter, and it's in Taurus, and it's also in a Venus-ruled sign. So we got Venus. She rules Taurus, and yes, Venus also rules Libra. Yep. It's interesting. It's feminine energy. Venus is feminine energy, right? So Venus is kind of, I got the power here. She's got the power. Now look at Mercury at 17 in Libra. Remember, Mercury's the news. It's what we're hearing about, right? And so, yeah, it's focused on partnerships. On partnerships, it's air. So it's thinking and talking. I literally get visuals of people sitting around a table, trying to work things out, trying to hammer out the details, trying to contracts, trying to figure out what is fair for this side, what is fair for that side. So again, the date on this is October 14th. October 14th, and because it's a new moon, it's a solar eclipse new moon, it's 12:55 p.m. Central Time. So for those of you who work with the new moon energies and utilize it with their prayer and setting intentions using the law of attraction, this is a powerful time. And that's why I give out the time. Now, we have to go look at the Venus up in the sky, because whatever she's doing, whatever details, she's in Virgo. This Venus is at 5 degrees, and this is important. She is in Virgo. The details, the day-to-day mundane routines, possibly domestic and domestics, people who do domestic work, people who serve are literally considered servants. I have a good friend. She has her own business. She cleans homes. That's Virgo energy, what she's doing. She's considered a domestic, someone who goes in, she takes care of the cleaning. She'll buy groceries for some people, some of her seniors. She'll go pick up their meds. She'll even take some of them to the doctor's appointments. She'll take care of the pets even. That's also Virgo energy. So there's a lot of different ways Virgo shows up, and cleaning, everything I just listed about what she does is all Virgo qualities. It's all Virgo stuff. And she makes money doing it. Venus in Virgo. You see? So when we think of home health care aides, right? I know recently we were having a discussion because my mom, as an example, she's just like, I don't want any home health aides. I don't want anybody in here to take care of me. I'm fine. I can take care of myself. And for anybody who's new to the channel, my mom has Alzheimer's. And so that there is no cure for that. And the prognosis is it's just going to get worse. Okay. So trying to get her acclimated to having people with her, working with her on a regular has been a battle. And she's just a very independent person and is really in a battle to keep her independence. And so having somebody in her home, even if it's someone to clean, like she'll allow you in for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. After that, she wants your ass out. She's like, okay, we're done. Bye. What are you doing here? Like she'll ask people that all the time. What are you still doing here? So it can get tricky, right? But these are, like I said, home healthcare workers, home healthcare aides, in whatever way that is. These could even be literally like nurses and people working within the homes. But we also think of people who do who have those sort of duties in a more and not in a more professional, but let's say in a more structured environment, like a hospital or a nursing home facility. My mom does not live in a nursing home facility, but it's the idea, right, where there's somebody above somebody, where there's a staff, and where there's like this structure of patients. And so it's the duty, it's the job, it's those details that are still all the same. You follow? You get it? So that's Virgo energy, and it loves the details. So much so, it's even accused of striving for perfection. Venus in Virgo, striving for perfection. Virgo is also the health, and connected to the health, other than the cleanliness and our pets and the health of our pets and the cleanliness of our pets. I always think of cats who are constantly grooming. And so some people may come into their homes and cut their hair for them or cut their nails, like things like that. Grooming. Virgo energy, the grooming. But what about food and the gut, digestion and the stomach? That sort of health. But connecting, like when mental stuff, like when you get stressed, when you get bad news or something, and right away your stomach, oh my God, it's like, what the hell just happened, right? It's the mental, it's the mind, and it's connecting the dot between the stomach and the brain. And some calling our stomach our first brain, literally, right? This event, this new moon event, 21 degrees in Libra. We don't have anything in Aries at 21, but we do have the node and Eris at 24, going on 25. And we have this node over here, but we have lots of other things down here. We have Persephone at 24. We even have some Vulcan energy at 23. And then these two at 21. So it's almost as though this power of this new moon will not only be near the moon's node, but it will include it to some degree. And remember, this node is about the past. It's about what we're letting go. It's about what is outdated, what no longer works. So that's partnerships. The new moon will focus on a new beginning, new partnerships of some sort, whether it's love, whether it's professional, whether it just might be some of you saying, hey, I need to get a lawyer. Find out what house it happens in for you. Go look at the degrees. Do you have anything near the degrees, like the degrees I'm showing here? So that would be like 19, 20, 21 degrees. Plus, we've got all these things by transit. So I'm giving this a pretty big orb. I'm saying the orb is going to be like 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's a pretty big orb for a new moon solar eclipse. And remember, it's a south node solar eclipse. So that south node says something has to go. We're making room for the new. And Venus and what she is focused on, whether it's at your job or where you live, this is what Venus is focused on. She's really, she got done doing her retrograde and figuring out her values here and growing those values up, right? In Leo, and the fun and the games. And then now she gets to see, okay, what about the job? What about the job that I'm doing? Do I like this job? Is it worth it? Is what I go through worth it? Maybe there's some details and some parts of the routines of the job and tasks that she wasn't aware of. Or maybe she's like, hey, I love this job. I love working. I love these details. Venus is about how I receive. It's my desires. It's my value. It's my self-worth. It's all connected. Self-worthiness. So we think of how Venus and Mercury, I have this arrow of the two siblings connected here. We think of how they're communicating, how they're possibly talking, how they're very likely having conversations about what they value, about what's important to them, right? And so this is for sure partnerships and day to day routines. So whether that's at the job or also domestic, likely both, likely both. So it can be personal, can be private, can be business and professional. But remember now, look, Mars is all about shared values. At this time, Mars is willing to fight because it's in Scorpio. It's quite strong here. This is where Mars feels at home. It's going to fight for its values, but it's in Scorpio, and Scorpio is our shared values. These can be people we're intimately bonded to, intimately, physically, or emotionally, or by blood bonds. People we have soul history with, and Mars is willing to fight for that. People where we are bonded because we have shared values, literally. Something happens to their income, their money, their finances, holy shit, it affects me. This can be inheritances for people who have their life set up that kind of way and come from those sort of folks. Money from inheritances, right? Think about that. And think about Mars being there and willing to fight for certain things, right? Mars is really powerful. And remember, with Mars and Scorpio, it can absolutely inflame things. October 14th, 12:55. If you've got something between 19 and 25 degrees of Libra and you're looking for a partnership, or you know you need to end a partnership, it can be professional or private, use the power and the intentions of this new moon. We're releasing something that's old and outdated, and we're looking towards the future. We're thinking of something new because we're looking for equality and fairness. We are looking likely for perfection because that's Venus and that's Libra energy, striving for perfection. That's its ideal, but it knows it has to compromise. So it has to know what its values are. How can we both compromise, and how can we both get what we want, even though we may not get everything we want? So below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.